Disney CEO Bob Iger speaks on the future of the Star Wars movies. This after the Patty Jenkins and Kevin Feige movies were scrapped by Lucasfilm. So when Disney purchased Star Wars, they mistakenly believed that Star Wars was like the MCU. And they planned to release a new Star Wars movie every year. Now, most of us were pretty excited about that, but then we got The Last Jedi, and we realized that not everyone should make a Star Wars movie. And this was after Disney had already promised everyone a Star Wars movie. But now it seems that Disney is focusing on quality over quantity. Disney CEO Bob Iger has given some clarity regarding the Star Wars film situation. Speaking at the Morgan Stanley Technology, Media, and Telecom Conference, the executive stated that Lucasfilm is being very careful about the next movie set in the galaxy far, far away. While multiple ideas have been announced as being in development over the last few years, most of them have been cancelled, including this week's announcement that Patty Jenkins' Rogue Squadron and Kevin Feige's untitled film are no longer moving forward at the studio. Here's what Bob Iger had to say.
We're still developing Star Wars films, but we're going to make sure when we make one, it's the right one. So we're being very careful there.
Careful like you were with The Last Jedi, Bob Iger? Careful like you were with the Kenobi series? See, that's the problem. The problem isn't quality or quantity. The problem is they're getting these dorks, these losers, behind these Star Wars properties. This is the director for the Kenobi series. Her name is Deborah Chow, and she is most known for directing episodes in CW's The Rain, a fucking romantic drama on CW. That's who they get to direct probably the most anticipated Star Wars show, movie, whatever, since it was announced that they were coming out with a new Star Wars The Force Awakens. The fucking director for The Rain. Bob Iger does not want to take accountability that ultimately the reason why Star Wars fans are not excited for Star Wars projects is because they are making shitty decisions as to who directs or writes these movies. Why the fuck is Deborah Chow, who directed The Rain, directing the Kenobi series? But Bob Iger doesn't get it. He's blaming the reason why they stopped making Star Wars movie on the fact that the Solo movie bombed so hard. And he believes that fans are just maybe fans just don't want to watch any more Star Wars movie. But in reality, the reason that the Solo movie bombed so hard was because it came out right after The Last Jedi, the shittiest Star Wars project in the history of the franchise. They cannot admit that the heart of their trilogy, right? The trilogy that they're focusing on was complete garbage. They don't want to admit that because they've already invested so much with these characters, right? With these sequel characters, putting them in the Disney theme park, building a hotel on the backs of the sequels, right? They've already invested so much that they cannot admit that they dropped the ball. That is why when you go to the Star Wars theme park at Disney World, you don't see Darth Vader walking around. You see Kylo Ren. You see fucking Rey. That's why when you sign up to stay at the Disney Hotel, it's strictly based on the sequels. You don't see Darth Vader. You see Kylo Ren versus Rey. Who the fuck is gonna pay $5,000 to see Rey and Kylo Ren? No, the only way they climb out of this hole they've dug is by being more careful about who they put in these roles, who they put in these directing roles, who they put in these writing roles for these Star Wars projects, because Star Wars is a completely different animal. Star Wars requires someone that understands Star Wars as more than just a way to make money. When you watch a Star Wars movie and you're a Star Wars fan, you feel Star Wars. It's a feeling. And that is the mistake that Rian Johnson made with The Last Jedi. It didn't feel like Star Wars. That is the mistake that Deborah Chow made with the Kenobi series. It didn't feel like Star Wars. When you watch the Clone Wars, that feels like Star Wars. When you watch The Mandalorian, that feels like Star Wars. So, Bob Iger, if you want a successful Star Wars movie, right? Because you cannot afford to have a box office bomb with the next Star Wars movie. The way to avoid that is you hire a director and writer that understands Star Wars, and you let them do their thing. Granted, it fits in with what Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau are doing. That's the only way you're gonna make a successful Star Wars movie. Get them in a room with Dave Filoni, with Jon Favreau, and have them come up with a Star Wars movie. Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni are your biggest asset. Why are they not the focal point for anything that has to do with that franchise? Let me know what you guys think down in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe. Sensational.